So how's it going?
It's going great.
It's doing all right so far. Have there been anything borderlining violence here today?
Not at all.
Okay, that's very good to hear. So what's your name and where do you live on the islands? You don't quite have to answer where you live, but
my name is Darryl Perry. I'm the chief of police for the county of Kauai. I live in Lakewood. The basic reasons why we're here is to make sure that everything remains peaceful. We're here to preserve everybody's rights and right to assembly and freedom of speech. I want to make sure that I'm not worried about the people here. You know, they're all good people. I'm worried about a person that may come by that may have ill intent or malice in his heart that may cause injuries or resort to violence because he doesn't agree with their ideology. So that's the main reason why we're here. So basically we want to make sure that the traffic flows freely, that nobody's on the roadway. And this is for their safety as well as operators. That's the main reason why we're here.
So why are you guys here today, and why are you supporting this protest?
Well, my name is Ian Ross. I'm here with KCC Radio Club. Basically, we're just checking out what it's about and trying to get some good sound possibly put up on KKCR.
Yeah, I'm actually a general manager of the radio club. But on a side note, outside of being part of Radio Club, I got involved in the movement because I was very interested in the tuition increases that were going on in the UH system and how the federal government impacts that. And so I did a bunch of research online, and I went to a website that was actually referred to me by my associate here called OccupyTogether.org. And from there I found out locally what was going on. We met at Lidgate last week Tuesday, and then this week Tuesday, I'm sorry. And then I actually came and helped with sign making the next day. I found that it was very important. I soon learned to not only document people's opinions and views, but really try to make a general idea of not only what the movement is, what it does, what it is attempting to do as one centralized movement. I mean, one of the #1 concerns that people have had, based on my interviews and word of mouth and things that I've seen on the internet and on the news media, is that they don't know exactly what the movement's about, or they think it's too general. At first I said, yeah, well, let's try and focus it on one topic, but I soon realized that there's no possible way you can do that. And I would not want to do that because people have different views. I mean, there are some people here who are saying, you know, I'm here mostly because of the war in Iraq, and then there are some people saying 99% against the 1%, and then there are some people making statements about the Federal Reserve. And I realized that the strength of this movement across the entire nation was because it had no specific demands. I mean, that is where its power comes into play. Everybody who has a problem with anything can voice their opinion about it. And what I've noticed when asking people, well, there are some people who've said, well, I'm concerned about some minor issue that doesn't really pertain. I don't really want to argue against the federal government per se. And I say, you know, this is your opportunity to make change. This is where you can make yourself be heard without just being thrown away, as most of the American population feels like they've been treated for the past, basically my entire lifetime. I mean, I remember 9/11. I was 10 years old. I'm 21 years old right now, and I've grown up with most of my friends vegging out on television and really not getting the facts, allowing people to manipulate their opinions based on a few different sources. So
I'm really curious because this is starting out before an election around the same time the Tea Party was. Now, I'm not sure what the impact's going to be because the Tea Party impact was, I believe, more as AstroTurf, which allowed for things like Citizens United pays to allow for the unlimited campaign spending from corporations and other individuals. So I think that was kind of like a silencing thing where we stopped talking about real issues and started talking about whether Obama was born on, in America or Mars or whatever they were trying to go off on. I think mostly Kenya, sometimes Indonesia. And basically silencing our entire voice of people over like the airwaves and all the other sort of media outlets by filling it with just total junk that had nothing to apply with where
Yeah, it seemed like on the mainstream news they were trying to show the people that didn't have an exact reason for being there, or a very vague reason, and that's what they'd show the mass media. That's what they'd put on there.
Oh yeah, of course. So the Tea Party movement was basically being funded by the Koch brothers. Now you have this actual organic movement that's coming off of, based on one idea that someone mentioned once on a Canadian website or whatever the cause was here, and just gone with it. People just ran with it. And I'm kind of curious where it's going to go. And I understand why it'd be less focused than something that was basically basically a campaign from a bunch of billionaires to get people in the streets to yell about things for a few months, so they could basically get a bunch of people to start doing the social issues by using the catalyst of, hey, wow, look at the deficit spending too. Let's make sure we ban abortions, make sure gays don't get married, and all the other social issues, which if you were talking to the people actually at the Tea Party and watching interviews, they wouldn't even seem all that concerned about. So it's this hijacking people's voice, which I feel like this movement is kind of a attack against, a push back against.
I'm here with Kipu Kai, and I just wanted to ask you, why are you here and why do you support this protest?
I support this protest probably because of the same reasons I've supported many protests over the last 20, 30 years. I think it's primarily about justice, about social and economic justice, about cultural justice, about environmental justice. It's about people, it's about humanity. The chant that we were doing was human needs before corporate greed, and I think corporate greed has been a problem for our country for far too long, and I think money in politics has made our nation move in the wrong direction and away from the people, and our safety net is shrinking, and government is not living up to its responsibility to take care of our people. You know, and we need more money in education and in health. They make it seem like it's about not having enough resources, but really it's about the resources not going to the right places. So our priorities are all messed up because greedy corporations are running the country. And so they're primarily interested in profit, not in people. And I'm really excited. I mean, this is, I hope, the movement of all movements, that it's happening all over the world, and that even here on Kauai we're participating. It's really exciting, and I think it'll be really important that we keep the momentum. This is definitely organic and grassroots, and we'll have to figure out ways to turn our voices into action and into meaningful things that actually make a difference, and that, you know, pushes us to the place where we want to be. I think it's a big battle, but I think with the people is more powerful than anything if they all come together and show up. And that's the coolest thing, that it's about compassion and about people power, and I'm really, really excited.
Well, this movement is important to me because I'm part of this world just like everyone else, and I care about everybody. They're like my brothers and sisters, and I see the corruption and the greed that is run rampant in our government and our whole system. The corporations are controlling our politicians. Our politicians are bought and paid for by the big corporations. We're wasting trillions of dollars on war, and what do we get? Like here in Kauai, we got furlough Fridays, and teachers are getting laid off, but somehow there's millions of dollars to be spent on bombs and to go off and kill, but it just doesn't make any sense to me, and that's why I'm out here, because I feel morally obligated, because my federal tax dollars are going to support a war that I don't personally support, but somehow my money still goes towards that, and that makes me feel obligated to stand up and say that I don't want this and that I don't support this. This is just the beginning. I mean, this whole movement that's happening is basically the light being shined on the corruption. And there's been lots of criticism saying that there's no focus, that there is, no one's united, that there's not a point. But they are. The point is everyone is demanding for change, and change is what needs to happen. There's not one single thing that's wrong. It's a whole bunch of things, and that's what's happening right now, is the light is being shined on that so that the corruption can be seen. And people are all over are becoming more aware. People are investigating this because this has become very popular, and people are noticing it, and people are getting excited about it, and they're going themselves and looking up this information and finding out for themselves how corrupt this whole system is. And not only that, but this is bringing people together. I have made so many new friends and connections, and that's what this is all about, making those connections so that we can move forward. United we stand, divided we fall. This is how we're going to move forward, with all these connections, new people meeting each other, that, you know, it's just going to take off from here. I mean, just imagine all the millions of people that are just meeting each other and talking for the first time about stuff that they're pissed off about. You know, I mean, it's on. That's what I gotta say. It's on, and we're not gonna stop. I mean, this is just the beginning. This is just getting people excited.